Welcome back to another episode of the Course Creation Incubator. I'm Gina Onativia, your course coach, digital strategist, and launch bulldog. And today you and I are talking about joy, feeling joy for a few reasons. Well, it's the summer, so that means beach season is here in Southern California. There's been incredible tennis on TV, which always brings me joy, and then the Olympics. And second, I'm full of joy because I have a dear friend and past student on, Laurie Shopland, who has a thriving weight loss membership called the Joy Club. See what I did there? Now, I met Laurie and her amazing husband, Jim, when I had a course creator mastermind. I used to take course creators through a year-long course creation journey and show them how to build and market their courses. Laurie and Jim came from a natural products background, and they signed up for the mastermind to learn all about how to run an online business and create a course for small businesses looking to jump into the natural product space. They were two of my favorite students because they took in as much as they could and then took action. And I have to say that sometimes your online journey is an interesting one because after the Natural Product Academy, Laurie went on to become a very successful life coach. And then she decided to launch her Joy Club, which now boasts 150 members, and Laurie's looking to double that by the end of the year. You're going to hear Laurie talk about some of the principles she learned when I was coaching her and Jim, principles that I use to this day, that I teach to this day, and walk through as part of the Launch Architect. Now, with the Launch Architect, you and I are working together in a small group for 8 weeks to plan out your promo for the fall or early winter. You get coaching calls, you get training calls, you get a toolkit, everything you need to launch without all of the stress and the overwhelm. And if you check out the Architect page right now, I've got this great video training with Megan O'Leary, my co-conspirator in launching, where we walk through the big 3 steps to making sure that you have a really great run-up. So check that out, coursecreationboutique.com/architect, and there's more information on the show notes. Okay, let's listen in on this interview with Laurie. I think you're going to find a lot of great insights as she talks about her online course journey. Laurie, welcome to the program. I've been wanting to have you on. I'm excited to hear from you, and happy anniversary, by the way.
No, thank you. It is so good. So good to be here, to hear your voice, to see you. Not everybody else could see you, but it's so good. So good.
Okay, I want to start off with kind of the evolution of your online business story, right? And I know we've got tons to talk about. When did you first realize with Jim that you wanted to start a business online with courses or with members?
Sure. So we both had corporate jobs, and then we kind of just always melded into, we met at business school, right? So entrepreneurial spirit right there. And the work he was doing, he'd gone out on his own before me, and then I kind of joined suit. And I just really saw the opportunity to be able to go online. And it was so fun. Even the way our paths led us to you was just learning about online through Brooke Castillo, through Amy Porterfield. And I heard your interview with her. I'm like, oh, I need to talk to this Gina. And truthfully, it was your sticky note thing that, because I didn't know what it was that we wanted to do. And so the sticky note program that you offered was just brilliant, because that actually gave us the layout to know, okay, we know the people we want to help. So, but how do we do it? And what does that even look like? So.
Okay, I love that. And I'll never forget when we were first talking about the mastermind. And do you remember? And then you said, oh, my husband has some questions. Do you mind doing a call? And I felt like Jim grilled me for like 45 minutes, but I loved it. It was like the loveliest grilling ever. And I love that you guys are such a powerhouse of a team. And I do want to talk about, like, I know Jim's been helping you in your business, but before we get there, talk to me about Joy Club. Like, how does it work? What motivated you to start it? Like, and to get it to where it is today?
Well, truthfully, to back up a little, like when you and I were working, and Jim and I were working with you, it was on a product of a Natural Product Academy. So that's what we had launched, and we worked. And what the whole part was, is that everything fell to Jim. It was his knowledge, and yet it was his expertise to do all of the back end stuff, because that was not at all what I was interested in. And so I was sitting there with great ideas, but I didn't know, like, I couldn't do anything with it. So in amongst that time, I had gone and studied to be a life coach under Brooke Castillo at the Life Coach School. And so I pivoted and went, okay, wait a minute. Like, I'm going to have my own business here and I'm going to help women. And I thought it was going to look entirely different. And they kept coming to me for weight loss. And I'm like, what? I'm what? Like, but the funny thing is I wasn't even recognizing that I, in amongst learning all these tools, had myself lost 47 pounds. And so it was like, oh, and Jim had lost 40, I think was what his final number was. And he lost it a lot faster than me, which really pissed me off.
Of course, right.
Another story. So when I started to work with my own one-on-one clients, the niggle was, how can this still be online? And so I just kind of went, okay, what does this look like? So I went, what if I could actually help women do it at a bigger scale to be able to, because not everybody can afford one-on-one coaching. So,
yeah, I know.
and everybody has their own struggle with weight loss. And I thought if we could build a community spirited event or atmosphere where they can come and feel encouraged, inspired, and empowered by women that are going along the same journey, I knew that they would never want to leave. And that's kind of what we built in Joy Club.
So I love that you mentioned Natural Product Academy. So when you first started out, when we first got together and working together, and how do you think what you're working on with the Natural Product Academy got you to the Joy Club, got you to where you are today?
Oh gosh, there's so many segues, but the one, the possibility, right? Like
Yeah.
originally of just even when you and I first started talking of, I didn't know what it was going to look like, but then figuring out and kind of just playing with Natural Product Academy allowed us to then go, well, that didn't kill us. So we could actually have, if we have an idea, we could go to market with it.
Yep.
But I think the biggest thing for me, and in preparing for the podcast today, I went back. I started an email list when I was still in my corporate job. I just started to email people of my blog, if you will. And slowly over time that started to grow, and I could start to see what their interest was. So I could then start to see what type of service and product that they would need, which was coaching, which was then they led me to weight loss, which I still think kind of funny I am a certified weight loss coach, but I always kind of thought it would be more life. But,
Right. Well, what I love is that you just put yourself out there, both of you and Jim, right? But you put yourself out there. You knew you wanted to coach, and then there was an attraction toward weight loss, and you said, okay, this is going to be the niche, right? And you started with coaching, and then that led you to the membership. Is that right? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
yeah, so I was doing one-on-one, and quite truthfully, it was getting full. So I
Yeah.
went, okay, well, but I had more demand for my time, and I was like, well, really, and I said, like, that's a really great problem to have.
Yes.
So what I did is I launched a small group, and I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to pilot this right now. And again, I loved being able to just have the mindset all the time of, for now, I'm just going to try this for now. And it took away the pressure of thinking that it had to be look perfectly right away. And so I had fun with the first group, and then I had enough interest so that we ran a second group. And after that, I was really quite happy just to keep going with groups. And then COVID hit. And I went, if not now, when? Right? Like, this is the perfect time where there's people that are at home with reduced incomes and everything else. So to make it affordable to be able to get them. And again, remember, I've been growing my email list.
Yes.
So as soon
So
as
smart.
I started to talk about, I'm going to go do this now, all of a sudden, my first month out of launching it. And thankfully, again, we had the road of you teaching us how to do the Natural Product Academy, that Jim literally within a month could build everything we needed on Kajabi for our membership site for Joy Club. So it all of a sudden it was like, okay, if not now, when? And we launched it last year.
Okay, that's amazing. And I just love how you pivoted and just naturally progressed to that. And I know we talked a lot about online courses when we worked together, and I know Joy Club is a bit different, but I do see some marketing principles. Like I see when you're doing your Facebook Lives and doing some of your social media, but I would love to know what kind of marketing principles you took from those online courses and apply to the Joy Club that you do today.
Gina, everything. Like, I remember sitting in our mastermind. I'm like, I don't even know what a lead magnet is. Like, what are you talking about? Do you remember that? I was like,
I remember that. Yes.
Right? So we needed to, like, you gave me everything, the foundation of what I needed to have. That, I mean, you taught me what a freaking funnel was. I had no idea what that was, about how to actually get out and who I was talking to, and then how to find them, and then how to attract them by having a freebie that then would convert for them to give me their email address to then build my list. Like everything that I learned, everything I do today
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had available unless I'd done your masterminds.
Ah, I love that. You make me so proud, Laurie. And I see you with your case studies too. You're so good about telling stories of success and what you've done with that. And I'm curious because weight loss is a tough market, right? Like I'm sure there's a lot of competition out there. How do you overcome objections to or people saying like, "Well, I've tried everything else." I'm sure you get that all the time, right? Like, how is this going to work for me?
And you know what's so interesting is that it's and this is my tag, is that it's more than just weight loss.
Right.
Because when we want to lose weight, it's I get to the why, right?
Mhm.
I don't prescribe a diet. It's like we do Joy Eats. We have a whole bunch of fun with Joy Eats, and you can imagine that's exactly what it sounds like. But we help you to actually lose weight so that the way that you live your life, and I always say till you naturally decombust at 93 years of age, because what's the sense in actually losing weight if it's only just temporary and then put it
Mhm.
all back on? Like our body systems can't handle that. And I had been the master of doing that. So I knew I had to do something differently. And when I learned to apply my coaching mindset to my weight loss, I knew that it was a magic recipe. So right now, it actually has so little to do with the food. People come in and go, "Okay, what's my food plan?" I'm like, "Oh, hon, yeah, that's not what we do here. Not what we do." So yes, there's lots of competition out there, but I think we are so uniquely different because it is a different. So that, I mean, a lot of my taglines is get ready for different, right? Because this is something you've never tried before. So
Or you bring them in like we used to talk about, you bring them in for what they want and then you
yeah.
give them what they need,
Oh
right?
my
They
God.
think it's about the food and they want more advice about the food, but then you give them what they truly need. So I love
Yeah.
that. So I know you had to make this pivot to more online with the membership, right? How did you make that connection? Because I know you before the pandemic, you were doing these great workshops and maybe you're meeting one on one and then you had to pivot to online. Like how do you keep that relationship more intimate, Laurie?
Mm. For the members themselves, we have weekly coaching calls. So
Yeah.
it looks like, the Brady Bunch. And I absolutely love it because I could go to webinar style and I have
Yes.
opted not to. So it's the first 100 women there. That's who gets their seat at the table kind of thing to be
Oh,
able to be
wow.
there
That's great. Yeah.
because the chat box is going of
Yes.
encouraging and inspiring and empowering one another while somebody's getting coached.
Yeah.
So I can coach one woman and everybody else online knows exactly what this woman's feeling like and gets the the byproducts of the coaching through somebody else doing it. So I think that we've really been effective doing that and I'm in there a lot. We also went from instead of using the Kajabi community page, we tried
Yeah.
that for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I just had a niggle and I'm like, you know what? It wasn't as interactive as I wanted to be. So we went over and created our own private Facebook community.
Mm-hmm.
And that is on fire. I have women asking to be our ambassadors saying, can I run a Tuesday regular thing? I'm like, yes, go
Ah,
ahead.
that's
Like, that's
great.
awesome, right?
Yeah.
So that itself, it really is a community to be able to build onto that. We welcome any new members coming in. So then it's like we tag team them with somebody that's already been in there. They just reach out and kind of mentor them along the way. So there's lots of touch points inside the membership for somebody not to feel alone, because dieting in the old fashioned whatever those rabbit ears thing is, that's what we did. Is no, we were always afraid to tell anybody and too embarrassed to say we were on a venture of losing weight. When they come in, we all know that this everybody in there feels the same way. So now let's, like, that aside, how are you doing? Like, we can get in there and help them actually overcome why they have struggled losing weight.
Yeah, that's great. And I agree with you about Zoom meetings versus webinars. So I did some hot seats this was a couple months ago and I did it webinar format. I did not like it, Laurie. I did not like not seeing faces. I didn't feel the connection, and that back and forth that I think is so important. And even as things start to open up, like I think, Zoom will continue to be very popular and I think doing this face to face is so important. We're recording this on audio and we're face to face right now because I want to connect with you, right? So it's so critical. I think that's so smart. Uh, what are your tips for you've been all over the place, right? In terms of let me do that again, all over the place. Let's talk about the hustle actually next. Um, So as things start to open up, Laurie, I know you were doing those workshops before. Talk to me about the hustles and getting together in person. And what do you think is the right balance between doing things online and then getting together in person?
So good. And what's so fascinating is we actually go across Canada. We have representation in Turkey, in Australia,
Ah,
down in the States, in a number of different
yes.
states. So, like, super fun. So, I have to be mindful of that, that even though a large percentage are around here where we are in British Columbia,
Hmm.
that's not everybody.
Yes.
So I really want to be mindful that when I plan an in-person event, that I give them enough notice. Again, with COVID, so we've already had one, which was a hustle, which you could walk, run, or stroll, right? Like push your kids in the
Yes.
stroller, and
Yes.
we did that. And then we're having another one coming up here, which is so funny because it's a member led. She was a
Hmm.
woman that never took the stairs, let alone ever ran, and now she has run 5K. So she's planning to do this and launch this, which is awesome. And so just by bringing women together, and by we're doing another event coming in October, so I'm giving the membership enough time, and I already have, I think, 4 people saying that they're flying in for it. So, and I'm like, okay, haven't secured a venue yet, but stay tuned,
You'll
I gotta
do it
think,
though.
right?
Yes,
That's
you'll do
so
it.
awesome. So it's just you're right, finding that balance. And I wouldn't say that I'm there yet. We'll see
Yeah.
as we grow and as we scale. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I know even for we were in Canada and we came down to San Diego for your mastermind, right?
Yep.
Like, if you want it bad enough, and we came down twice because you're
Yes,
so
you did.
fun. Yes, we did.
Yes, I have good retreats. I have great retreats, I have to say. And we have some fun dinners, don't we? I was
Yeah.
just thinking about those dinners the other day and how fun they
Yeah.
are.
But the
Yeah.
training, the training was just, again, to be like in a room with people, again,
Yep.
like-minded people that are growing businesses, that I'm not thinking. I mean, I would just remember some of them around the table that were asking a question that I wasn't that there yet. And
Right.
they were able to, like, oh, that's fantastic. So when I got home, I knew that next step to do. It was brilliant. So
Yeah, I love that. And you have a market, right, where people can shop for your Joy Club t-shirts and sweatshirts. How do I know sometimes people ask course creators want to expand into these different areas, right? But maybe are afraid. Right? And how did you know like okay, it's time to have the market. It's time to do the hustles. Like how do you know?
I think I really took on 2 words, and I just always just went for now, right? Like, I can try it for now, and it didn't have to be in stone. And I think, when we talked earlier offline, and you had said sort of what was your biggest obstacle, my biggest obstacle for any of it was me, right? Of
Yeah.
getting out of my own way of thinking it had to be perfect along the way. And I think the Natural Product Academy didn't end up generating the revenue we had thought it would.
Right.
And in fact, it has given us opportunities we never thought possible by now doing Joy Club, whereas, like, I can't believe I get to do this for my life. Like, I can't believe this is my career. Natural Product Academy, it felt like a job because I didn't know anything about natural product. I was being my husband's assistant, right?
Yes.
Whereas now Jim's been able to step into what he really loves, which is on the back end of all of this, the strategy, and he's coaching coaches and others on that. Like, it's brilliant. So we had to go through that for it not to be perfect in order for it to, what I would say, really rolled out to be perfect. So as soon as I kind of started to roll, like, what if it could just look differently? So the market, we had hoodies in the beginning, and now we've added t-shirts, and maybe we'll add it. I think we're talking about a journal and some coffee or some water jugs next.
Mugs. I vote for mugs and I vote for
Yeah,
journals, please.
yeah.
Yes.
So doing stuff like that, but again, it's just being okay with it just being a trial, right? And a pilot. And I think I learned that from you too, of like, it could just, let's just try this and kind of see what sticks. So
Yeah, and what I loved about you and Jim is that and still you stay curious and you guys just kept asking questions and you're like, "Okay, but then what? And then what? Okay, and then what happens?" Right? And you just stayed curious and then you tried it on. And then you saw. So, and I'm always talking about it's not one size fits all with course creation or launching or promoting or finding your business. And you guys took like a bit of a curvy path, but look at like your path is so incredible right now. What do you say to somebody who says I have an expertise, I'm a coach maybe that wants to try a membership or a workshop or a course, but I don't know, maybe I should just stick with the coaching thing. What do you say to that person?
you know, I just, when you get out of your own way and you're doing it for what the people are needing and wanting. And I really felt that there were people that really needed the service that the membership would provide for. So I had to get out of my own way of thinking I didn't know the how, that we would figure out the how. And we were able to put all of the content, because I'd already developed that. And thankfully, through your sticky note exercise of just knowing like I had everything that they needed. And then I think actually one thing I would say is a real maybe mistake that I did early days is I felt that they needed to know everything now.
Yes.
Right? So I front loaded the membership site with everything. And you were asking about retention and stuff, and we have a great retention percentage. But early days, it was people coming in and getting so overwhelmed because they didn't know where to go, what to start with. So had to really rework that to go back to a new member journey and walk through it and going, okay, what do they need to know? And building out that email sequence that I'm holding their hand for the first month, and that they know that they are completely supported all the way through. I kind of talk about, we take them from a river into the ocean, right?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm so glad you were on, Laurie, and you shared some of these thoughts with us. Where can we learn more about Joy Club, about what you've been up to?
Sure. So on my website, laurieshopland.com, and it's all there. It has working with one-on-one as well as with Joy Club. So.
And then what's next? So I know you got some hustles going, and then what do you have planned into the next year?
Oh, it's super fun. Well, we just knocked it out because we just celebrated our first birthday in Joy Club, which is just crazy.
Yes, congratulations.
So now we're looking at like, what does this next year in Joy Club look like? So mapping out all the content.
Yes.
And then looking at doing a workshop that will be open for people outside of Joy Club as well come October. So yeah, get on the email list.
Yes, get on the email list so you can hear all about those workshops, because I know you hold wonderful events. So and you do everything in such an impeccable way. So thank you so much, Laurie, for stopping by.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Sometimes you just need to get out of your own way and give people what they want. Yes, let's put that on a Post-it note. I love these words from Laurie. I hope you were inspired by her and her journey and got a taste of what happens when you really put yourself out there. I'll see you next week. Please rate and review this episode, especially if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. Would love to get the word out about this podcast so you and I can help build up our course creator community. Until next week, go create, be you and be brilliant, and get it done.